Tuesday with Keiko. Today, my guest speaker is Meir Ezra, an entrepreneur with the purpose of helping others, founder of Empowered Funding, South African Music Festival co-founder, CEO and coach at Guaranteed Prosperity, boutique hotel owner, podcast host, public speaker, entrepreneur with the purpose of helping others. With successful businesses and investments in his own right, Gal branched out to public speaking and coaching for other entrepreneurs to achieve their own success. Based in Cape Town, South Africa, with experience across a wide range of fields, from business management and consulting to marketing and finance, Gal Ezra has been able to create success ahead of his time by the age of 25. Gal had established his first $1 million company. Welcome, Gal Ezra.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice to be here. And I love the video at the beginning as well.
Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
the question for you is, I knew Mia from 171 Way of Marketing. I would say he changed my perspective at that moment in time. Being his son, do you feel that kind of pressure to be better version of yourself?
So it's a great question. When you have usually somebody that's very successful, they do put pressure upon people around them or upon kids or whatever. But I can say that I never felt that from him. Why? Because what he did is he just did well with what he did, set a good example. Everything he did, he just excelled at, whether he was helping others or doing business or training people or being a father or handling money or whatever. So he set a really good example. And we, the kids see that.
That's right.
And that's what you need is to set a good example. And when you have that, you from your own then want to do well. You put a good internal pressure from yourself to yourself so that you actually do well. Otherwise, somebody puts pressure on you and your instinct is to resist it back. In this particular case, if you create your own good pressure, then no problem. You generate it endlessly. So, no, there was never external pressure. He just set a good example, helped where needed, guided as needed, and we put the good pressure from ourselves.
Yeah, that's amazing. And when
Hmm.
I attended his course, I think Mia is really an amazing coach. He taught us about duality in this universe, and we
Hmm.
have to be aware of the duality because if you are not going up, you are going down.
True.
Yeah,
100%.
that's
Yeah,
right.
and it's powerful.
The first question for you is how you are able to step into a breakthrough.
Into a breakthrough. Yeah. So basically, a couple of things. First of all, for anybody listening, the intro that you gave was amazing. But just to give a little bit more, the general thing that I do is I help others to maximize their potential and ultimately to succeed in all parts of life. So the website here, which is gprosperity.com, that stands for guaranteed prosperity. We guarantee everything that we do. So if you do a sales course with us and it doesn't increase your sales, money back. So guaranteed prosperity. Now, what I would generally explain here is if somebody wants to achieve a breakthrough, first of all, you need to learn. You need knowledge. It's like, how do you achieve a breakthrough on how do you drive a car without ever learning to drive a car? So somebody wants a breakthrough. Let's say you've never driven and you're 16 years old and you get into a car and you want the breakthrough of driving on the highway on your own to your friend's house. That's the breakthrough with driving. How are you going to get there? You have to first of all learn, obviously, how to drive a car. It sounds so silly, so obvious. Yeah, you have to learn to drive a car to drive. But most people don't invest in learning. They don't invest in learning about the subject that they're having trouble with. So their business is struggling, they don't learn, or their relationship is on the rocks. They never learn to have a relationship. They just think that they can get married and that's it. You have a relationship. No, you can't just drive a car and drive. You need to learn how to drive first. So to get the breakthrough, you must invest into learning on the subject that you want the breakthrough in, number one. And number two, you need to validate the improvements. Every little improvement, you need to say, yes, well done to yourself. You have to really say, wow, well done for every small thing, because people are very expert at finding all the bad things from their day. Like
Yeah,
that's
that
everybody's
I
a
agree.
professional. Yeah, everybody's a professional at finding what went wrong today. But try to find one good thing from the day, two good things from your day, and it will be challenging. So the key is actually to get very good at validating every little improvement, and that will lead to a breakthrough.
That's amazing. It's so
Thank
true
you.
because every one of us, we have the negative mindset within
Yeah.
us. An example for me to accomplish who I am today doing the podcast, I've been through a lot of trial and errors. I thought I'm not good enough. In my head,
Mm.
I had that conversation in my mind, but I prove it to that voice that I'm good enough to be a better version of myself.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Exactly. And the way to do that is by finding all the little ways that you're good enough. Because
Yeah,
people that think they're not good enough have found over many years all the little ways that they're bad enough, which is not really true, because the bad is not really true. The good is true. But they're really good at focus on all the little bad. So maybe we should try to focus on the little good. Maybe.
that's right.
Yeah.
And the second question is how you gain clarity of what you love doing.
Yeah. So how do you gain clarity for what you love doing? Basically, you need to first of all make a very clear picture of your ideal picture, your picture perfect. You need to really write down what does the end result look like. And it doesn't have to be the end result for 30 years from now. It can be the end result for 1 year from now, or 5 years from now, or 1 month from now. It depends what timeline you want to have. You can also do 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 10 months, 9 months, 8 months, down to this week. What does it look like? What's the end result? When the end result is very clear, now you know what you need to do to get there. For example, if I'm currently in Los Angeles and I want to get to New York City, but I have no idea what New York City looks like, I have no idea where it is on the map, I have no idea how far it is away from me relative to where I am now. I don't know what New York is. I've just heard about New York. And I start to go. It will be a very long and winding road, and very soon I won't love what I'm doing. I will hate every second of every step towards New York. But if I know exactly where New York is, and I understand what it takes, and I've broken it down, and I know the road signs along the way, then every time I hit a new part, then I'll be very happy because I know I'm getting closer to New York. So you have to have the end result extremely clear. And sometimes you'll have many options of how to get there. And you need to then decide what are you specifically good at? Where do you have a slight advantage? And then you take that area that you have that slight advantage and you learn about it. Learn, 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 learn. And while doing, learn and do, learn and do, learn and do, learn and do. And you'll get closer to the destination and you will love doing it. You love doing what you know that you love. What do I mean? You love doing the things that you need to do, not what you want to do. I love what I need to do, not what I want to do. Sometimes I want to sleep and I need to stay up late. So I love staying up late because that's what I need to do to get closer to my destination. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. The day after my recording with one of the guest speaker Juan,
Yeah.
and I had to stay up late until 5 a.m. to do the video editing, and I just
Hmm.
love doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. Because you had it very clear, the destination. You knew exactly what the end will be. And so you enjoyed doing the steps to get there. So
Yeah,
when you know the destination and you know what's needed, that's what you love doing. And sometimes there's parts of it that you don't want to do want to do. It's irrelevant. You decide on your feelings and you love it.
yeah. And the third question for you is, what is the takeaway for our viewers?
So the takeaway just from today's relatively brief conversation is to, if I had to say one thing that you need to do, it's to validate every little improvement. So when you have that clear destination that we made up in our metaphor, which is New York, and you have the road and you have signs along the way, and those signs tell you what direction you're going. Every time you make a tiny bit of progress and you see another sign, or you take another step, or you go a little bit off, but you know that you had to go off because it actually gets you closer because you had to go around something. Every little step, you have to say, wow, well done. Celebrate it. Celebrate the tiny things. And most people do the opposite. So that would be my recommendation is, or my one takeaway is to validate every little improvement.
Validate and enjoy the process.
Yeah, yeah. And the only way it's not even to enjoy the process, because enjoying the process means that you're kind of effect of the process that's happening, and it's a process, and I have to enjoy it. The difference here is you put each step of the process there, and you decide that you love it. You don't just enjoy it like I'm eating food and I enjoy the food. I actually love the actions that I take. Most
That
people when they say enjoy the process, they basically mean you're along for the ride, whether you like it or not, enjoy it. Here I'm saying, no, you're not along for the ride. You are the driver. That's a bit of a different viewpoint from slightly effect to very cause. And that's the key. You have to remain at cause. Most people get put into effect, meaning things happen to them in almost every element of their life. At any given second, they're knocked back into being effect. So you have to constantly remind yourself, how do I become cause over the things I'm doing? Because everything will invite you to take a viewpoint of effect. Does that make sense?
yes, it does make sense. Because
Yeah.
recently I had to relocate.
Yeah.
That is challenging. I have more than 30 boxes of stuff. It took me a while to adjust my
Mhm.
mindset.
Yeah, yeah. And eventually,
Yeah,
eventually you go through a process and eventually you decide, okay, it's me. I've got to do something about it. At
yes,
the
I
end
have
of
to
the
take
day,
action.
at the end of the day, you have to, right? So,
Yes,
and that's what happens in general. For you, it was moving, but eventually you have to say, okay, well, I got to do it, I guess. So what
yes.
we do at Guaranteed Prosperity is we basically train people at how to make that process that you just explained shorter and shorter and shorter because people get knocked into a feeling of effect. They think, they worry, they get anxious. they get depressed. All of those are substitutes for actually acting. So
Totally agree.
we, yeah, so we
Yeah.
basically teach you, and it's fine, it happens. But how do you bounce back quicker? How do you get better, faster, quicker, better, faster every time that thing kicks in? So eventually it just stops happening or is very rare.
Yeah.
And it's very possible, and that's what we
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
especially the fear of lack of money that
Hmm.
really brings a lot of people down.
Yeah. Yeah. So the interesting thing about fear, fear just means a state of imperception. Fear is not looking. You're not perceiving. If I scare you, the first thing you do is you close your eyes and hide behind something, meaning you don't look, right? If you go to do a bungee jump and you're scared of bungee, you don't even want to look at the edge. You can't even look at it. It's you're scared. If people are scared of their money, they don't even look at their bank account. They're scared to look at the bank account. They don't even want to look at it. So fear is when you don't look. And the truth is that if you become more knowledgeable, you'll be more and more willing to control and you'll be able to look. Now, control brings about income. So increase your knowledge, teach you how to drive. You can then control the car better. And then you have the income, which is in this case not money. The income with a car is a car that took you to your destination safely. So now you have the income from the car. Thank you, car, for giving me a good drive. So income is not just money. Income is anything positive that you want to come in. And that comes about. You want income, you want money, you can't be scared. You need to control. You want to control, you need to learn. You need knowledge. When you have the knowledge, you'll get control and then income. Fear is the opposite of that. Fear is everything that doesn't exist. Fear is literally everything that doesn't exist. Why? Because you're not even looking at it. So how can it exist? You're scared of something that hasn't even happened yet.
It's so true because so many people they put themselves into that fear. Without money, they have the thought that it's not possible to do anything.
Hmm. Yeah, it's not true. It's
That's
not
right.
true. I've seen people that have no money and do incredible things and they make it. They really do incredible things and make lots of money and they make it in life. And I've also seen people that have lots of money and completely screw it up and lose it all and they don't make it and they're more depressed than ever and they're in bad condition. The basic lie is people think that you need to have in order to do.
But that
You
is a
don't need
lie.
to. It's a lie. Yeah. What you need is just to do. You don't need to have anything in order to do. Just do. Just act. People think, oh, in order to start my YouTube channel, I need to have the best camera first. No, you don't. Just whatever you currently exist, just do. Just start. You have an old iPhone? Start with your old iPhone. You don't need to have fancy things in order to do.
That is amazing. Going through these 4 years of my life transformation,
Hmm.
I would say I learned a lot of lessons from Mia. In order to step out of my comfort zone, it does take time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, take time to adjust my habit, my perspective, my mindset.
Hmm. Yeah, it takes time, but the time that it takes is proportional to how much knowledge you have or don't have. So the less knowledge you have, the more time things take. And the more knowledge you have, the less time it takes. So super expert, knowledgeable doctor can look at you for 2 seconds and he tells you, this is the problem. And he's right. Somebody who doesn't yet know needs to check and doesn't know and needs to think about it before telling you what he thinks is maybe the issue, but he just needs to check with someone else. So The more you know, the less time it takes. And for you, you had a bit of time that went by before you could do certain things, but you had knowledge along the way. If you didn't even have that knowledge along the way, it would have taken you even longer.
Totally agree.
So the most important thing to do is to invest in your knowledge. That's why I said first, you have to learn. You want to drive without knowledge, it will take you a long time. If you want to learn first, it will be a lot more effective and you'll have less accidents.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Another additional
Mhm.
question from me
Please.
is, Gal, how are you able to establish your first $1 million company?
Yeah. So what we did, and it's going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but really we did what I told you here. And basically, I was young. I had a lot of knowledge, which was a benefit, very big benefit. I worked with partners that they had their knowledge. Together, we combined and we started. We just started with our first few things that we did. It was small, it was not anything crazy big, but in our mind, we were kings. We barely started, we did almost nothing. But we were young and naive, right? So we
Yes,
thought, wow, we're the best in the whole wide world. And that was enough to get us to do the next step and the next step and the next step. And combined with knowledge and saying well done to ourselves and applying and actually doing the actions, not thinking about it, you achieve success. Most people would have done the first little thing that we did, and they would have thought, it's not really as good as we hoped. It didn't go so well. Maybe it's tougher than we thought it would be. And they would have quit, or maybe not quit, but they would have continued with a little less oomph, a little less push.
yes.
For us, we did the first little thing and we were like, oh my God, we're the best. And so that kept it going. That's why it's so key to validate all the improvements. So that's how you do it. And of course, you need to know how to build a business, or you need to know how to whatever is your area of expertise, you need to know how to do it. If you're a barber, you need to know how to cut hair. So you need to have some basic knowledge of what you're doing and then how to build a business around it. But that principle, even if you don't know anything, you'll make it.
Like what you say, even if I don't know anything, take for example, I have this dream of creating the connection of investors and entrepreneur together.
Hmm. Hmm.
And how do I get started on the first step?
You first of all, you need to know exactly what your an end result is. Super clear. That's why we in the business class, we have a whole business class where the first 3 or 4 lessons that are about 3 hours each. Okay, so if you think about it, 4 lessons times three. Actually, it was the first 6 lessons, which were about 3 hours each. So 18 hours was just dedicated to teaching the students how to define the end result clearly. So first you need to know your end result, because otherwise, how do you know if you're going towards New York or towards, I don't know, Africa? You need to know where you're going. So you have the end result, and then you need to do the actions that will lead you. The first thing is to just start. Even now, what you're doing now, you've made a connection with me. I'm an entrepreneur. You go and you meet somebody for coffee. You go and you do more podcast episodes. You network. You call people. You connect on social media. You start. You start. You just start. The first thing is you start, and you make connections, and then you get an idea maybe of this person. I can connect this person with that person, and then wow, that's a great idea. You connect them. It doesn't go so well. Okay, fine. But it was the first step. You did your first attempted connection, and you roll and roll and roll and roll, and things start to happen.
That's a good point there.
Yeah.
Because when I started this podcast, it basically start from I love doing podcasts. I love conducting interview. I never think that far that I'm able to connect, the different guest speakers
Hmm.
that come into my program
Yeah,
to bring them together to create something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But for sure, it is. It is. You see, so there's always a way to make things happen. The key is at the beginning, it takes time. It's a
Yeah,
process that takes
agree.
time, and then the time will be less the more you know, but still you need to put in the work. And eventually there'll be some progress, but you have to learn. That's why we do the business class for people starting. It's all about how do you start from zero and build a business? How do you fix a business that's kind of not going so well, but it already exists? Or how do you take a business that's doing very well and take it to the next level? So that's the business class. That's what it's called. You can find it at gprosperity.com/business. And it's amazing. It's very, very powerful.
It is.
So if you want to find out a lot more about what we do or register to some of our courses, we have many. We have free courses. We have courses that are very low cost, like very $9, $19, or we have much more advanced courses. You're going to have a affiliate link, which you can, of course, put in the YouTube description or anywhere. And that way you can buy from us or sign up from us through your link, and that way it'll help Kiku. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it'll help Kiku, and basically you'll be able to support the podcast that way as well. So we'll give you an affiliate link. Go to that and just check out some of our courses. So if you do want to get it through her. And if you just want to find out more about what we do before you get it through her, you can go to gprosperity.com to find out more.
Thank you so much for this opportunity for interviewing you. And I've learned so much in this session with you.
I'm so glad. Thank
And
you. Thank you for the platform.
you're welcome. And I hope to see you in another episode soon.
With pleasure. Anytime. Anytime.
Yeah. So, goodbye.
Bye bye.